Good morning, boys and girls. Good morning, everyone that has joined us. Thank you for coming today. Let's have a look who we have in. Good morning, everybody. Hi, Alfie. Tuesday, the 13th of April today. Hope you're doing well. Today we are doing some math. No, we're not. Sorry, we're doing literacy. So I'll just wait one more minute to see who else is going to join us, and then we're going to continue with our literacy. We've got quite a lot to do today, so I might go quite fast. Just want to pack as much in as possible. Makes us all smarter. Okay, I'll just take a register. Fab. Oh, it's Harry's birthday on Monday. Very exciting. A few more days to go. Okay, I'll just share my screen, everybody. Okay, fab. So today is Tuesday, the 13th of April, and it is a literacy lesson. And we are continuing our learning all about newspaper reports today, as you can probably work out from the pictures. Thank you, Brisha. Super. Okay, so today we've learned a lot about the features of newspaper reports. We've learned about the introduction. We've learned about what kind of things they need to have and how they need to be, and how they need to look. Today, we're going to really get into how to write a newspaper report. Okay, so that's our learning intention today, to write a newspaper article or report. It's the same word, it's a synonym. Okay, first question, see who was listening on the previous live lessons. What features do newspaper articles need? Now, before you start typing lots of random words into the text box, chat box, I've got 13 things. So see how many you can get in one list. So type them next to one another instead of putting them all individually in the chat box. So see how many you can think of. 13 things. I think anyone can think of 10. Should try and get them all in one big list. So one message instead of lots of different messages. So what features, Louis, can you see in a newspaper report? So what kind of things, if you picked up a newspaper, what would you see in an article? What things do you need? What would the journalist be including? And try and get them all into one big long list. Well done, Leah May. That's a big long list you've got. 2, 3, 4, 5. Good job. Ollie's got 4. That's good as well. Can anyone get more than that? Right, 1 more minute. Because like I said, we've got loads to do today. Some of us just thinking of maybe one. I've got 13. So we should be able to come up with more than just one. Liam's got 4. Well done. Louis's got 4. Chloe's got 3. Oh, I'm winning this game, boys and girls, today. Remember, if you don't want to type it, you can just say it out loud and maybe count how many you have. Well done, BB. Ooh, Caitlin, wow. You've got loads. You've obviously been listening. Well done. And you've remembered. Okay, sorry if you didn't manage to get your answers in, but we're going to go start. Ooh, fantastic, Daisy. Ooh, good. Super. Well done, everybody. Lots of good answers. Okay. Title of the newspaper. So, The Guardian, News of the World. It tells you what the newspaper's called. Headline needs to be catchy. So that's the big thing at the top, often in capital letters to grab your attention, tell you what's going to happen in the newspaper. The date the newspaper was released, because you need to know if the news is current or if it's 2 years old. An introduction paragraph. Well done, Daisy, you got that. And lots of us had a go at writing introductory paragraphs. It needs to have separate paragraphs, so all your information needs to be sorted into paragraphs. Columns, so remember it needs to be in columns. It's not just one big page. The journalist, so that's the person who wrote the article. So lots of us wrote person who made it. Now, they're not the person who made it, they're the person who wrote the article. And in a newspaper, you'll have lots of people that have written different articles. Okay, so we call them the journalists. Photographs, well done, lots of us got this. Usually of action happening, something relating to the story. Captions that explain what's going on in the photographs. Quotes from people involved, someone that might have been there or knows what's going on. Facts, so it's got to be facts. It's not a story. It's not, in a newspaper, is to inform people of things going on. So it needs to be facts. It needs to be true things. Written in third person, so they, he, and she, not I. The journalist doesn't write I. And written in the past tense, so it has to have already happened. Okay, well done. If you got lots of those. If you didn't, there's a wee refresher. Now, we have covered this, so this is a recap. So I'm going to go quite fast through this. So the introduction is often one sentence which grabs the reader's attention and gives the summary of the article. So you have the headline, usually the date and the journalist, and then you start the story with your introduction, and it's usually one sentence. It can be 2 sentences, but it's usually one really good sentence. And it tells us a summary, so what's the report's going to be about. And sometimes people might read that sentence and decide they're not interested in the report. So, but the journalists want people to read their writing, so that's why they want to make it look really good. Yeah, Leah May, this PowerPoint is up on the Zoom follow-up folder. Yeah, because there's lots of information in it. So I thought you might want to go back and have a look at it. So it's up there. So in the opening paragraph, we need to tell the reader all these things. We need to answer these questions. Who was involved in the incident? What happened? When the incident happened and where it happened. Now, these are called the 4 W's. In the previous task, we did also include why and how, but right now we're just going to stick with 4. Okay, so who, what, when, and where. And this is for the first sentence in the newspaper article, the introduction. Okay, so I've got an example here. Disaster struck last night in Ashted when a massive 10-kilogram bag of wine gums was maliciously stolen from 5H classroom by a violent gang of thieves. So, can you spot the 4 W's? So, can you spot when it happened? So when did it happen? Looking at that introductory sentence or paragraph, can you tell me either out loud at home or in the text box when it happened? When it happened. Super, well done. Yes, all correct. And where did it happen? Where did it happen? And there's 2 answers for this really, isn't there? So where did it happen? All correct answers as well. Good. And who was involved? Who was involved? Super. So who was involved in the incident that we know of? Yes, well done. And what happened? And you don't need to write out a big sentence for this. You can just write 2 words. So what happened? What was the event that occurred? What was the event that occurred? Well done, Ollie and BB. And Brisha, good. Yeah, good job, Daisy, Liam, and Liam May. Fab. Okay, so let's have a look. Did you get it right? So when it happened was last night. We all got that. Well done. Where it happened was in Ashted and the 5H classroom. So it told me like where it happened a wide area, and then went more specific. Who was involved? A violent gang of thieves. And what happened? Wine gums were stolen. Good. So that is a really good introduction sentence or introductory paragraph because it answers all those questions. Now, you also want to add in strong adjectives, verbs, and adverbs in the introductory sentence. So adjectives, verbs, and adverbs in the introductory sentence. And you also might want to add in some facts as well. So, can you tell me what an adjective, a verb, and an adverb is? We should all know what an adjective is. Easy peasy, we've been doing that since year 1. But do you think we can remember what a verb and an adverb is? Particularly the adverb. Sometimes that one, we forget that one, don't we? Because we learned that one just this year. I'll give you a little minute either to say it out loud at home or to type it in the chat box. Why do I keep calling it a text box today? It's because I've been making endless PowerPoints with text boxes. So what is an adjective, a verb, and an adverb? Almost, Brisha. I think you got a little bit confused between the second and the third one, between a verb and an adverb. It is tricky. Remember, the word adverb is two words squished together. If that gives you a little hint. Well done, Louis. Excellent, you remembered. Okay, so an adjective, as we all know, is a describing word. So it describes the noun. So fluffy dog, and the adjective is fluffy. Or the tall girl, the adjective is tall. A verb is a doing word or an action. So swimming, running, stretching, thinking, dreaming, sleeping. So it's a doing word. And the adverb is an adjective and verb squished together. So adjective, verb, adverb. So it describes the verb. So how were they doing the action? So swimming gracefully, running quickly. Okay. Well done if you remembered those. And the adjectives and adverbs in here, we've got massive, maliciously, violent in the first paragraph. And they just make it emphasize it a bit more, don't they? Make it stronger. Now, usually in a story, we start from the beginning and work through in time order, in chronological order. But in a newspaper, we don't do that. We actually start at the end of our story. So that first paragraph, that first introduction tells us like the whole story. Okay, so it tells us the end as well as the start, not like a film or a story. Where you would only find out the end at the end. Now, the second paragraph. So after the first paragraph, that introductory sentence, the second paragraph goes back to the beginning of the story. So it is a bit tricky. And it tells the reader how the incident occurred. So we start from the beginning and then now work through what happened. And we stop now including descriptive language. So we don't put in lots of adjectives or anything in the second paragraph or the paragraphs that follow. We don't use similes, we don't use metaphors, we just write the facts. So it's a really different type of writing than our imaginative and creative writing. It's a completely different skill, really. And it's all just about reporting the facts. It's straight to the point. And it's not all like fluffy and beautiful. So we don't use lots and lots of description. So this would be an example of a second paragraph. Mr. Harverson had been working late in his classroom when, at around 7 p.m, he had suddenly heard the door of his classroom being smashed down and 4 hooded men enter, carrying clubs in their hand. Instantly, Mr. Harverson had been tied up by the robbers and threats made to him to reveal the location of his secret store of wine gums. So that is a really good second paragraph. So it started at the beginning. So what happened before the event? Well, Mr. Harverson was working late in his classroom. Then what happened? And if you have a look, there's some good openers. Instantly. Okay, it doesn't describe the robbers. It doesn't say a naughty, tall group of robbers. It just says exactly what happened. It says the facts. It only includes events which are relevant to the story, because otherwise you get distracted by all the descriptive language. So this is an example of what not to do. It's distracting. It had been a beautiful sunny day and the birds in the trees were chirping merrily. Mr. Harverson had just finished marking some rather difficult maths work in his brightly painted classroom when he heard the old oak wood door of his classroom being smashed down and 4 hooded men enter, carrying some new shiny clubs in their hand. Instantly, Mr. Harverson had been tied up using some blue and green striped rope by the robbers, and threats were made to him to reveal the location of his wine gums. So you don't need to know it's a beautiful sunny day. I mean, you don't need to know about the color of the rope that he was used to tie up. It's just irrelevant. It distracts the reader from the actual story of what happened. So this is a bad example of what to do. So this is not what you would do. You just want the facts. It still has to be well written, but well written in a different way. I hope that makes sense. I know it's a little bit tricky. Now, also remember, this is a bit of revision. We need to use past tense. I'm glad that makes sense, Daisy, sweetheart. Thank you for letting me know. So remember, we've been doing a lot of work on past tense because sometimes our stories were switching from past to present tense and it just was getting a bit confusing. So we've done quite a lot of work on past tense. Now, a newspaper article needs to be written in past tense. The event is already happened and the journalist is reporting on it after it has happened. So can you spot any examples of past tense in that paragraph? If you can, say them out loud or type them in the chat box. So examples of past tense. And it's actually past perfect tense, but don't worry about that. Well done, Katie and Poppy. Good. Ollie, Brisha, Louis, good. Super, Ollie, good, well done. Okay. Oops. There are lots of, had is the biggest clue there. Had, and most of us, I think nearly everyone typed that in the chat box that is typing today. So well done, had. I'm sure you got that at home as well. That's the biggest clue. But there's also had been, there is smashed, tied, lots of things there that tell us that it has already happened. Now, after we have written our second paragraph, which tells us what happened in the story, we then give quotes of people who were involved in the incident or who somehow witnessed it. Now, in giving a quote, you need to write the name of the person who is speaking, because otherwise you have no idea who it is and who they are. Okay. You also need to tell them who they are. So, you know, why are they important? Now, this is a bit tricky because the whole of the newspaper article is written in past tense, but the quotes aren't. So when you are putting in quotes for your direct speech and your speech marks, it's written in present tense. So for example, Sally Smith, so that's her name, a member of Mr. Harvison's class. So it's told me the name of the person and who they are, so why they're involved in it. So she's a member of the class. And then I've got my comma and my speech marks. Mr. Harvison is very possessive of his wine gums. He's very guarded about them. The robbery must have come as a great shock to him. And you can tell it's present tense because you've got is and must have. Okay, so she's telling you what happened. And after we've given quotes of the people who witnessed it, we finish the article with a forward look. So we're looking forward. And this is also written in present tense. I know it's confusing, but it's a really interesting type of writing. So then we write, for example, police are looking for members of the public to provide any information they have about the robbery, including any suspicious behaviour seen in the area around Greville Primary School on the night of the incident. So it's a sort of remark about what they want to do now. And remember, we did that with the asparagus example as well. It told us when the asparagus auction was taking place and where it was taking place. So this is the same. It said police are looking for members of the public, and it wants to get any more information from you. Okay, so I'm so surprised I managed to get there on time. Well done, you guys, for paying attention. I have not finished yet, Louis, so don't go. If you look at the Zoom follow-up folder and you have week 5 and Tuesday, the 13th of April, there are two tasks. You can choose either just to do the first one, if you think this is a bit stretchy for you. The first one would be fine for everyone. Or if you want to stretch yourself a little bit more, challenge yourself, you could do both of them. So the first one is an investigation. So I've written an incident that's happened, and there's lots of information there, lots of facts of things that happened. It's all about a break-in to a school. So a little bit like the examples that I have done for you today. And you have to answer these questions here. So who, what, where, when. What questions could you ask the witnesses here? What photograph might you take? How could you end the article? And a word bank as well of vocabulary. So lots of questions there to answer in full sentences, please. If you want to have a go at stretching yourself, you can then turn this into a newspaper article, and you will use the answers that you've written for these questions to help you. There is a template of a newspaper article on the Google Drive. There's also a word bank to help you, and I've put up this PowerPoint so you can go through and look if you're a little bit stuck. Because I know this is the first time we've actually tried to write a full article. It doesn't need to be pages and pages long. Just one page is fine, as long as you've included all those things that a newspaper article needs. Okay. Okie dokie. If there are any questions about this or any concerns, just give me an email. I'm sure you all know my email by now. and I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be a maths lesson, and we'll be continuing with our data analysis. So have a great day, everyone. And Chloe, no, you don't need to do all 3 pages. Just on the template, no, I've just put extra sheets just in case, but I would say just do 1 if you can. Just make sure you've included everything. Okay, everyone. I'll see you later. Take care.